Okay, imagine this. A cornerback, yeah, having a staring contest with a receiver. Then suddenly, this receiver spots, like another defender, just kind of sidling up like an unwanted party guest. That's kind of the world we're diving into today. The bracket stance in football.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds simple, right? Standing.
Yeah, seems simple.
But when you're trying to stop one of those, gridiron gazelles, the details get pretty complex and honestly kind of funny sometimes.
Exactly. So if you're listening in and you're fascinated by that whole chess match happening on the field, we're basically cracking open the playbook today. Or, well, the parts about how guys stand, anyway, to really understand how defenses try to, cage those super explosive receivers.
Defensive geometry, you called it, with a side of try and catch this. Love it.
Pretty much.
So it's not just looking intimidating before the snap. It's a real calculated move trying to pull a fast one on the offense. Okay, so keep saying bracket. What does that actually mean in football terms?
Right. So the basic idea of a bracket, it's when two defenders team up. They're assigned to cover just one offensive receiver.
2-on-1.
Yeah. It's the defensive coordinator basically saying, look, we're not taking any chances with that guy.
Like needing two hands for the cookie jar because it's just too tempting.
Exactly that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
It's special attention.
A defensive double dip on coverage.
Yep.
And this idea, bracketing, it's not just some vague concept, right? It actually affects how defensive backs line up.
Oh, absolutely. The sources we looked at, the rules, they lay out specific scenarios where brackets dictate positioning. For instance, let's say you've got two receivers out wide, both probably in man-to-man coverage.
Okay.
And the defense signals for two brackets, double brackets.
Right.
You'll often see the free safety, the FS, usually the deepest guy, he'll cover the strong end receiver, the SC.
Okay, FS on the SC.
And then the nickel back, the NB, the extra DB who comes in for passing downs, he takes the flanker, the FL.
Got it. So specific pairs for specific spots when you're doubling up on both sides. But hang on, you mentioned something about the nickel back.
Mm-hmm.
There's a quirky rule there.
Yeah, this is where it gets interestingly specific, the nickel back bracketing. This can happen if the defense is in a 4-2-S formation.
4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, strong safety, kind of close.
Exactly, that setup. Now, in that formation, the nickelback might bracket the tight end on the strong side.
Might?
Yeah, might. Because there's a catch. This usually only happens if the strong safety, the SS, is already busy in man coverage on someone else.
Wow, okay. So it's not just, hey, nickel, go bracket the TE. It's like, if we're in this formation and the strong safety is doing this, then maybe you bracket the tight end.
Precisely. It's this whole chain reaction of formation, personnel assignments. It all has to line up just right.
You can almost picture the DC's whiteboard, right?
Yeah.
Covered in arrows and if-then statements. Very specific.
Totally. It shows the layers, doesn't it?
It really does. So, okay, the defense sets this up. The QB hikes the ball. What happens if they do throw to that bracketed receiver? What's the intended outcome?
Well, the hope is, first, that the pass is just incomplete, right? Two guys there should make the window much tighter.
Makes sense.
But even if the catch is made, now you've got two potential tacklers right there converging on him immediately.
Minimizing yards after catch.
Exactly. And the rules even suggest, interestingly, that the chance of either defender making the tackle is pretty much equal.
So the defense is basically shouting, go ahead, throw it there. We've got double the annoyance waiting.
That's the message. Increase the odds of a quick stop. Limit the damage from a guy they've flagged as dangerous.
Right. Which brings us to the why. Why go to all this trouble? Why dedicate 2 players? What's the big strategic idea, maybe mixed with a little bit of defensive panic?
Maybe a bit of panic sometimes. But strategically, the core reason is simple. Reduce the effectiveness of a really good receiver. Take away the offense's favorite toy, essentially.
Like putting a velvet rope around him.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. By committing 2 defenders, you're trying to force the cornerback to look somewhere else, to go to their second or third read.
Makes sense. And for you listening, trying to get these insights quickly, the bracket is a perfect example, isn't it? It's a focused strategy to significantly dial back the threat of one specific player.
And think about the offense's sideline for a second. The coordinator draws up this great play for their star, and suddenly there are 2 defenders waiting. It's like finding out your perfect coffee is, well, decaf.
Unexpected and just. Less potent.
Exactly. Or like trying to parallel park and suddenly there are 2 other cars aiming for the same spot.
Oh, man, that's pure frustration. Incredibly inconvenient.
But, like any defensive call,
It's not foolproof.
Never foolproof. The success, it really depends. How good are the two defenders? How well do they communicate? What did the offense actually call? A really sharp QB, maybe they see it, maybe they find a tiny window anyway. Or the receiver just makes an incredible play.
So it's a calculated gamble. Improves the odds, but doesn't guarantee a stock.
Correct. It's risk management football style.
And this bracket thing, it's just one tool in the toolbox, right? And that's not the only coverage defenses use.
Oh, definitely not. It's one piece of the puzzle. You've got your zone coverage, where guys cover areas.
Right, protect the turf.
You've got straight man-to-man, one-on-one assignments.
The classic matchup.
And then things like bump and run, getting physical right at the line.
Uh-huh.
The bracket is often a more specialized tactic. You might see it mixed within a man coverage scheme, used against specific threats or in certain situations, like we talked about with the nickelback.
Okay, so let's try and pull this together for that satisfying aha moment for everyone listening. This bracket stance, it's not just two defenders accidentally bumping into each other near a receiver.
Definitely not accidental.
It's deliberate.
Right.
It's driven by rules tied to specific formations, like that 4-2-S example. All designed to make life absolutely miserable for one key guy on the offense.
That's the essence of it. And while digging into the rulebook details can feel a bit, dense,
Yeah, a little bit.
the core idea is pretty relatable, isn't it? It's strategy. It's trying to outsmart the other team, right down to how a player positions their feet before the ball is even snapped.
It really highlights that incredible depth in football strategy. Even just standing there has tactical layers. Amazing.
So just to recap the main points for you. The bracket stance. It's a specific defensive play. 2 defenders, 1 receiver. Often used in certain formations, often against the offense's biggest threat.
Creates that double team effect in coverage.
Right. Increases the chance of breaking up the pass or at least making a quick tackle if the catch happens.
So next time you're watching a game, maybe settled on the couch, think about that chess match.
Yeah.
Every defensive look, like the bracket, is a move. It's a counter move to what the offense wants to achieve.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other seemingly simple things on the field hide that same kind of strategic depth?
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully this gives you a new way to look at those defensive shells and how they match up with receivers.
Keep an eye out now. You might spot those brackets happening and recognize exactly what the defense is trying to pull off.
Okay, so you've got your bracket, maybe consulted the tea leaves, perhaps.
Where the cat picked the winners.
Yeah, exactly. Because today, on the Deep Dive, we are diving right into that glorious mess of prediction and pain. The bracket.
That annual tradition.
Totally. Now, before you think we're suddenly sports prediction gurus, let's be clear. We're actually digging into the gridiron rule books.
Right. Things like the combined rules for Season 36, Introduction to Gridiron, the Coach's Playbook, and Team Management Pro.
And we're doing this to figure out the surprisingly deep, sometimes kind of funny rules behind what feels like a simple guessing game.
Yeah, the logic, or maybe the chaos that fuels those bracket moments.
Get ready for some, hopefully, moments about why your bracket always seems to implode by Saturday.
Absolutely. It's funny, the sources, they don't actually lay out a bracket like, for a tournament.
Oh, really? Huh.
No, but the game mechanics themselves, they basically create the perfect storm for upsets and unpredictability.
The kind that makes filling out a bracket so, maddeningly fun.
Exactly. So understanding these rules, it's not about crafting the perfect bracket. I mean, good luck with that.
Right. Impossible.
It's more about appreciating just how many moving parts there are when you're trying to guess who wins. It's surprisingly complex.
Okay, let's get into that bracket-like thinking then. Because, yeah, I look at my bracket and I see logic. I see destiny.
We all do.
But these gridiron rules seem, almost designed to trip you up.
Well, think about a single game, like one matchup on your bracket. What decides it?
Okay.
You've got the basics, formations, right? Coaches pick from the set 8, long 8, short 8, play calls, direction, who carries the ball. Simple enough.
Seems standard.
But then, bam, right away you hit the randomness factor. R&D, random number generation.
R&D. My old nemesis. The dice roll that laughs at strategy.
Pretty much. It pops up everywhere in the rules, calculating yardage, figuring out fumbles, all sorts of things.
So my top seed could just, randomly trip and fumble on the 1-yard line? Classic racket buster right there.
It introduces that element of, pure chance. That's why your genius pick might get bounced in round 1.
So much for my Always pick the higher seed strategy.
But interestingly, coaches aren't just victims of R&D. They try to manage it or outsmart it.
Oh, how?
Well, the rules mention the optimizer for helping with play selection, and coaches can call audibles at the line.
Ah, okay. So they're trying to react, find weaknesses, exploit something.
Exactly. It's like their own strategic mini-game against the randomness, kind of like us trying to find that edge when we fill out our brackets.
Okay. So it's like us trying to find that undervalued 12 seed that's going to make a run. The coaches are doing that constantly within the game itself.
In a way, yeah. But it's not just the plays, right? The players themselves add another huge layer of variability.
Right, the human element, or I guess the digital human element here.
Precisely. You've got player attributes, QST ratings, quickness, strength, technique.
QST, right. And those matter a lot depending on the position.
Definitely. Like a defensive end needs quickness. Maybe a defensive tackle relies more on strength. Different player matchups can lead to unexpected results.
So a mismatch there could totally swing a game, even if one team looks better on paper, like an upset brewing.
Absolutely. It's like that player you've never heard of suddenly dropping 30 points in the tournament.
Happens every year. And what about leadership? I saw that mentioned. That sounds important, especially in big games.
Very important. It influences the whole team, especially under pressure. But here's the kicker.
Yeah.
The rules also mention negative leadership.
Oh, wait. Negative leadership. How does that even work? Is a player actively trying to lose? Sabotage?
Not quite actively trying to lose, maybe, but it can seriously undermine a team. It can, cancel out home advantage, make low motivation more likely, and even drag down the leadership effect of other players on the team.
That's incredible. So you could have a statistically great team that just collapses because of one bad apple. That's a bracket nightmare.
It's that hidden factor, right? That thing you don't see in the seeding that causes a first-round exit.
Totally. And player experience matters too, right? Game time, formation experience.
Yep, formation, specialty experience. It all builds up, affects their level. You might think, oh, the veteran team is the safe pick. But, as we'll see, experience doesn't make you immune to, chaos.
Okay, so we've got random dice rolls, player skill variance, potentially toxic teammates. But what about the stuff that happens during the game? The real curveballs.
Right, the stuff that makes you tear up your bracket in real time. Injuries are a big one.
Oh yeah, brutal.
They can knock out key players unexpectedly. Severity ranges from a niggle to critical.
Oh, a critical injury to your star play. That's your championship pick. Suddenly out for the season. Bracket destroyed.
Exactly. Then there's fatigue.
Silent killer.
It accumulates, wears players down, can lead to mistakes late in the game. Think about it like your own brain turning to mush by the Elite Eight, trying to justify your picks.
Too real. So a team could dominate early but just run out of steam.
Absolutely. That's how leads vanish and upsets happen.
And don't forget motivation. That seemed like a wild card.
Huge wild card. Home advantage is a factor. Rivalries are specifically mentioned.
And you can hire a motivation coach. Seriously.
Yep. It's in the rules. It's like trying to bottle that underdog spirit.
So a team might just want it more. And that actually matters in the game's mechanics.
It seems so, that intangible something that lets a team play above their stats, especially against a rival or at home.
That's the stuff bracket legends are made of. Or, bracket tragedies if it's against your team.
Exactly. That emotional layer adds another level of unpredictability that pure stats can't capture. Just like in real sports, really.
Okay, so we've covered players, randomness, injuries. What about the coaches? The strategy, the play design. That's going to be huge for our bracket odds.
Oh, absolutely. Remember the set 8. Coaches only have a limited number of plays they bring into a game.
Right, so they have to choose carefully. Like us picking teams, hoping we've got the right mix.
Kind of, yeah. And then you get into designer plays.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, with different blocking schemes, man-on-man, area blocking, and passing strategies like half-roll. It's intricate stuff.
So one coach might just outsmart another with a clever play call.
Definitely. That tactical battle can totally swing a game, leading to an unexpected win, another potential bracket wrecker.
And even special teams, right? You mentioned stances.
Yep. Safe or aggressive stances for things like field goals. Go aggressive, maybe you block it.
Or maybe you rough the kicker.
Exactly. High risk, high reward. A blocked kick to win. Pure bracket drama.
Total chaos. It feels like every page of these rule books has another way to ruin my bracket. Are there specific, upset mechanics built in?
Well, you could call them that. Think about long games or breakaways.
Big plays.
Right. Those game changers that can happen suddenly. A speedy player gets loose, breaks, tackles. Boom, touchdown. Doesn't matter if they were the underdog.
Yep. Seen that sink my picks plenty of times.
Then you have the really high variance stuff. Big play interceptions, fumbles, turnovers.
Momentum swingers.
Brutal. A well-timed interception, a fumble recovery. It can completely flip the script on a game, and your bracket prediction along with it.
And blitzing. Quarterback's getting sacked.
Yeah, blitzing is in there. Can the QB anticipate it? Does the line pick it up? A sack at the wrong moment? Devastating. Bracket implosion potential is high.
And penalties. Can't forget those. The unforced errors.
Oh, absolutely. A stupid penalty wiping out a great play or giving the other team amazing field position. That can definitely bust a bracket. Happens all the time.
Man, it really is a minefield. And just when I think I've got a handle on the pro games chaos, you mentioned the college rules earlier, how do they make things even crazier for bracket purposes?
Right, the college system. Our sources mention it has greater variability in yardage. Meaning outcomes on plays are even less predictable, potentially bigger swings, and more broken plays.
Yeah, more chaos.
Basically, yeah, like turning the randomness dial up. If your bracket involved college teams from the system, expect even wilder results.
Oh, great.
And get this, college rivalries are apparently coach-managed.
What does that mean? Like, the coach's personal vendetta influences the game plan.
It seems like it. Adds this personal, maybe even irrational element. Imagine a coach calling some crazy, super risky play just because they hate the opposing coach.
That could lead to a spectacular win or a spectacular flameout.
Yeah.
Either way, probably bad for my bracket's predictability.
Exactly. More fuel for the upset fire.
So let me get this straight.
Yeah.
My whole annual ritual of carefully analyzing seeds, looking for trends, trying to predict the unpredictable, it's basically doomed from the start.
Maybe doomed is strong, but...
We've got R&D just messing things up randomly. We've got player skills that vary, including secret team-killing negative leadership.
Yep.
We've got injuries, fatigue changing things mid-game. We have motivation and rivalries adding emotional chaos. We have coaches trying to out-scheme each other with limited plays and fancy designs. And then a whole list of specific game events like breakaways, turnovers, penalties, just waiting to cause mayhem.
You're summing it up pretty well.
And the college game is just all of that, but more unpredictable.
That seems to be the gist, yes. What looks like a simple prediction exercise is built on this incredibly complex, interconnected system.
Where randomness is basically a feature, not a bug.
Precisely. How all those things interact. You know, a fast player against a weak tackler, an aggressive coach versus the risk of a fumble. Just plain luck.
Yep.
It creates a world where upsets aren't just possible, they're almost like mathematically likely over a whole tournament.
So the aha moment is realizing my bracket isn't failing because I'm bad at predicting, but because the system itself is designed for glorious, unpredictable failure.
Or let's say designed for surprising results. It's about appreciating the complexity behind the apparent simplicity.
Okay, so next year, maybe I won't spend hours agonizing. Maybe I'll just, I don't know, pick teams based on jersey color. Or maybe, mascot. Who's got the silliest mascot? That's my new strategy.
Hey, you never know. Might work as well as anything else, but if you do want to understand the beautiful madness even better and maybe embrace the complexity, the full rule books we mentioned are actually available online. You can find them at www.gridiron3.com if you really want to master this game's bracketology.
Tempting, but maybe slightly terrifying. Thanks for walking us through this delightful descent into bracket chaos today.
My pleasure. It's fascinating stuff.
Hopefully you listening have a new, maybe slightly more forgiving perspective on your own bracket next time around. Remember the R&D, the negative leadership, the motivation coaches.
Embrace the chaos.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time for another exploration into the gridiron world.